right, everybody, we are back at the AAC podcast for episode 23, and we are going to go on a topic that is interesting. It sounds like Alex hasn't heard of this nickname. I don't know if Roy has yet. Roy,
I
have you heard
have,
it?
I have, because
Yes,
Trump actually made an announcement on a
that's
lot
what
of
I thought.
things.
Yeah. So why did Tim Waltz get the nickname Tampon Tim? And so we're going to just go on to an NPR website, break it down. It's a very left-leaning liberal media post, so that way it's not coming from the right. And even really like we're going to just kind of go word for word on what NPR is going to talk about. And we're going to break this down. And so it's going to be fun because Alex hasn't heard this. And so I'm actually from Minnesota. I'm living here right now. And when this came out, I think it was around a year ago. And then I think it got implemented on January 1st, but we'll find out in here. And what's the controversy about it? Because I do think there is some good in this bill that I've heard about. And I think there's a couple things that are just stupid ridiculous that got shoved through here that we're going to find out. So we're going to pull the... Okay, what's up?
Hang on. I mean, I just got to say, Alex, you're looking very swole today, man.
Thank you.
I mean, the sleeves must have just popped off.
Yeah, no, they just fell off. I don't know what happened.
They got scared and they ran. They couldn't hold in all that muscle.
Oh man, he's been working out. Okay, here we
go.
go.
Prepare myself for the tampon podcast,
dude. Okay, yeah, the tampon podcast.
Had to have the sleeveless shirt coming in hot.
Okay, so why Republicans are calling Waltz Tampon Tim and why Democrats embrace it. So I'm just going to kind of go through here and read this thing and embrace it. So feel free to stop me. I'll stop a few times, but let's kind of break this down in sentences and paragraphs if it gets juicy. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it says Republicans' critiques of Democratic vice presidential candidate Tim Waltz have given him a new nickname, Tampon Tim. After Vice President Harris announced her pick, Stephen Miller, a former advisor to former President Donald Trump, tweeted she actually chose Tampon Tim. Chia, I don't know how to pronounce that name, who runs the far-right social media account Libs of TikTok, Photoshop Walt's face on a tampon box.
First of all, that when I heard DJR come out with he called it Tampon Tim. I was like, dang, that's probably one of the biggest. This guy and his names. I mean, come on, it's Sleepy Joe, Tampon Tim.
I gotta follow this guy. I don't have X, but I might get it just to follow these funny things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't even necessarily have to have X to follow these things. I mean, you could see it all over. Mm-hmm. Anyways.
Okay, but I feel like at the face of this should be a good bill to help girls, is what I feel like. So why would they give him that nickname, right? Like, this seems like a normal thing that would be good, but obviously there's got to be some hidden stuff that was thrown into this. So we're gonna keep on going. But there's the box, Tampon Tim. Oh my gosh. All right, so it says Tampon Tim is hands down the best political nickname ever. Tweeted conservative commentator Liz Wheeler. It's got to be top 3. It's so savagely effective. In one word, tells you everything you need to know about Tim Waltz's dangerous radicalism. Okay. The moniker refers to a law that Waltz, the governor of Minnesota, signed last year requiring public schools to provide menstrual products, including pads and tampons, to students in 4th through 12th grade. You guys have any issue with that so far?
I mean,
not necessarily. I mean,
yeah. I mean,
no,
I don't think that's anything crazy. I know it said students. It didn't say.
I was looking for that. I'm like, what did they say? What kind of students?
Here's the highlight. Yeah, I think that's where this is going to go. Is because we'll see. But the products are free for students, with the state paying about $2 per pupil to keep them stocked throughout the school year. So nothing too crazy so far. Like like if that's in there, okay. The law, which was the result of years of advocacy by students and their allies, took effect on January 1st. Through the students say the rollout has so far been smoother in some school districts than others. Okay. It makes Minnesota one of 28 states that have passed laws aimed at giving students access to menstrual products in schools, according to the Alliance for Period Supplies. The issue enjoys broad popular support. 30 states have eliminated state sales tax on menstrual products, and Trump himself signed a 2018 package that requires federal prisons to provide them. Okay, here we go. I think we're getting to it, but Republicans appear to be taking issue with the wording of the legislation, which says the products must be available to all menstruating students in restrooms regularly used by students. All right, I think we're ready.
Genderless language.
First issue here. What do you guys think? What is that?
It's genderless language. It's leaving it open. It's like whoever menstruates, you know.
Well, isn't there only one gender that can menstruate?
Well, yes, but they don't believe that. The people who made this.
Okay. You got any thoughts, Roy? Should I keep going?
I mean, let's keep going. I mean, we all know.
We know where it's going.
What's the deal? Yeah.
Okay, let's just get to it. So some Minnesota Republicans initially tried to limit the initiative, here we go, shocker, to female assigned and gender neutral bathrooms. Okay, so female bathrooms and gender neutral. That makes complete sense, right? Well, but they were unsuccessful. Even the author of that amendment ultimately voted for the final version of the bill, saying his family members felt like it was an important issue I should support. The bill's inclusive language reflects that not all people who menstruate are women. Oh boy, here we go.
Yep,
and not all women get periods, which was important to those who lobbied for the legislation. All right, we just got to stop right here. Hold on.
Well, that's a wrap.
I mean, we're gonna keep going, but I think we found the issue of the bill. It's what you just said, Alex. It's a genderless issue, and I think the Republicans were just trying to get them to put the correct verbiage in here.
Where is it gonna go? I mean, you're a transgender guy.
Well, if you had to guess, Roy, I'm pretty sure if you were a dude, you'd have to put it up your butt.
I mean, that's the only other option. Here's the thing about this, because I actually, when it comes to that, say you go and you go all out. I mean, like, you got the reconstruction surgery, you chopped off the twigs and berries. No. That there in itself, like, that thing, from what I've been told, it needs to be cleaned every time, all the time, because it's not normal female,
because it's a wound.
Come out. It's an actual wound that is staying open, and so
it's not natural.
It's gonna catch everything. So you got to be careful, what you wear. Even I would just, I mean, I was told you got to be careful with what your occupation is too, to be able to not get that infection. Now you're putting yourself at risk.
This goes back to that whole Matt Walsh, video he created, like, what is a woman? Mm-hmm. Like, I can't, like, this is, what are we in 2024, and you can't even define, like, I wonder what % of the population can't define what a woman is. Like, I don't even want to know, I feel like, but the fact that we have to go here is like, this just seems like, it seems insanely crazy to me that, like, this gets pushed through legislation because they had to say that not all people who menstruate are women. I don't think you can find one case that a man can menstruate. I just don't think that could happen. And then that whole trans thing is just crazy. So, okay, let's go down here and see what it says. So it will make it more comfortable for everyone. Yeah, I think that's a lie. Then people can use whatever restroom they want without being worried.
No, I don't know about that.
I don't think that's going to make everyone comfortable.
I think the women are a little worried.
They got to be worried. They got to be worried about the heterosexual fathers. That's who they got to be worried about.
You got to get a point, Roy. Yeah, like, straight up. Yep.
I mean, I'm watching you. I mean, that's just not. I mean, there's also the reason why you don't put transgender men in female prisons. Have you heard of that story? Like,
I've heard a few stories.
Someone got pregnant, didn't they?
Bunch of them. No, they got almost the majority of the women that were in there got pregnant.
What do you think's gonna happen?
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. Well, they didn't menstruate. Apparently, they did something else.
yeah.
Okay. This is. I can't believe we're actually like this is a thing. Like I feel like this is an S. Everything I come on here, I feel like I'm looking at an SNL thing. Like, all right. So it says, but some in the Republican Party, which has increasingly promoted anti-transgender policies and rhetoric, see that aspect of the bill as a reason to attack Waltz. Tim Waltz is a weird radical liberal. The Mega War Room account posted on X, formerly Twitter, what could be weirder than signing a bill requiring schools to stock tampons in boys' bathrooms? I think that's a complete legitimate question, right? How is that weird? You guys see how that's radical to ask that question?
That's not radical. That's a completely normal stance to not think it's okay to put tampons in the boys' bathroom.
Like, here's what's even crazy. Like, if you're trans and you actually think that you need it because you were born a biological male for some reason and you think you can menstruate, why do you have to put it in the bathroom? Why can't you have them in the principal's office and just go ask for them? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's other ways around this than trying to make it this insane, because they can't menstruate anyway. So like, it's not like they're ever going to go there and be like, hey, I'm bleeding. Like, what the heck?
I've been like, if you were the principal, I mean, I gotta tell you, these principals that run these schools, I mean, I'm pretty sure they got to be seeing a therapist. That has to be part of their health plan to be able to see a therapist, because they're dodging bullets left and right. Like, I'm trying to, educate your kids. I'm also trying to make sure the staff is okay. I have parents coming at me left and right about all these different issues. Then there's food allergies. Then there's trouble. I mean, you got to be a very patient person, and I'll give those principals props for having that position, because it is not easy.
I get fired. I wouldn't be able to do it.
I couldn't do it.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't stand for it. Like, my principles and values just wouldn't. I get fired. But I know what you mean, Roy. Like, yeah, like there is kudos of like if you're still trying to, because someone has to do it, right? And so if you get all nut jobs in there,
because if
want, then
they're trying to keep the peace.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You made a great point. Yeah. No, it's really good. So, okay. So it says, as a woman, I think there is no greater threat to our health than leaders who support gender transition surgeries for young minors, who support putting tampons in men's bathrooms in public schools, she said. Those are radical policies that Tim Waltz supports. He actually signed a bill to do that. That's pretty crazy. I don't even know, man.
I don't remember Minnesota. I mean, Minnesota is the Midwest.
Why? Oh no, dude! Minnesota is like California and Oregon.
Well, I mean,
it's crazy.
I'm trying to wonder how did Minnesota get wrapped up in that?
I've heard it called Northern California so many times.
Okay. Because Minnesota, from when I was growing up, it was full of like you guys were like almost like another version of Canada. Like, you guys were friendly. Let's have lunch. Let's hang out.
Well, I think a lot of the people, like, if you look at like most of the state is red when you look at like the outliers, but the cities and the population in the cities just vastly outnumber. And I know we've had a huge immigrant migration in here, which probably votes more on the left, probably is where they got, but I don't know the answer to that, Roy, exactly. That'd just be kind of my guess.
Yeah, it's definitely the influence from the big cities, because whenever there's a gigantic city like Minneapolis, that usually dominates the entire state, and it's very liberal compared to everyone else. But also, you're right, Jaron, with the immigration, because Lutheran Social Services and a bunch of other like charities will take immigrants and just make these like housing areas for them. Like, there are apartment complexes that are literally only built for like Somali immigrants or Mexican immigrants, and it happens everywhere in Minnesota. I remember, I'm from Fargo, North Dakota, and I used to live in like Minnesota, so I would just see it all the time. Like, they would establish communities just for immigrants, and it would just be them and their families in this giant apartment complex.
Yeah, so that's probably a big thing. Oh yeah, go for it.
So my theory is that, I mean, I'm pretty. Again, this is all theory. I have no way of proving this. Is that you have the far, I think, and honestly, I think old school Democrats, I think they're kind of like in this, they're stuck. Like they don't know, they can't go right, but they can't leave, and so they're just kind of like, well, I'll hang in there for as long as I can. But anyways, like the far left are the ones that are like, how can we get strategic about this? Let's go after the non combative states. And so they just plant little seeds, and they just kind of let themselves, those weeds grow, and then it just takes over, uh, like crazy. And then so, because no one's really paying attention, everyone thinks everything is good, and then all of a sudden they kind of let their guard down, and poof, now you got certain people in office. You have speaking a certain language of the type of ideal society it should be, and then that's I mean, that's how I think it was taken over.
Yeah, I got when we end this, after we read this, I have something on that about drawing a line and how these things get pushed through, with people not even knowing what's actually in the bill. But let's keep going here. So it says Waltz, who once earned the title most inspiring teacher at the high school where he taught and coached football, hasn't responded publicly to the Tampon Tim taunts.
How do you respond to that?
I don't know, but he had strong words for his Republican opponents on Tuesday night. I'll just say it. Donald Trump and JD Vance are creepy and yes, weird. He tweeted, repeating the put down he helped popularize in recent days. We are not going back. I don't know what's more creepier than
you don't get to call anyone else creepy after you do that.
I don't think you can. Yeah. Okay. This will be interesting. Many of the left see Tampon Tim as a compliment. Oh man, this will be interesting. Democratic Minnesota Representative Sandra Feist, the chief sponsor of the bill in the state house, sold it as a wise investment, explaining to her colleagues last year that 1 out of every 10 menstruating young youth miss school due to a lack of access to menstrual products and resources. Okay, if that's true and they're female, that's great, right? Like, let's help them out. Because those are not dudes that are menstruating, right? I would assume we all agree on that part.
Hope so.
I hope so. Like, I hope she understands that, but she defended it again in a tweet on Wednesday morning, saying she was grateful to have partnered with Waltz to address period poverty. This law...
Period poverty?
I don't know.
What?
Exemplifies what we can accomplish when we listen to students to access their needs, she wrote. Excited to see Minnesota representation at the top of the ticket. Feast ended the tweet with a hashtag Tampon Tim. Okay, I was not expecting something like that at all. I don't know you guys. What do you think of that? Your own party person hashtags Tampon Tim with you
in like a positive way.
I'm just thinking, like, if you're his kid, hey, I heard your dad's called Tampon Tim. I'm like, I mean, first of all, like, I mean, I'd be embarrassed 100%.
Yeah,
like,
that's.
I
someone
wish
comes
I had
up
something to say.
Someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, your dad has his nickname called Tampon Tim. What do you?" So, are you like?
What's up with that?
Are you like mini tampon boy?
Oh my gosh.
I
Okay,
mean,
let's keep going here. Many social media users responded that providing tampons in school isn't the bad thing that Republicans are making out to be, and in fact, they see it as the opposite. Former presidential candidate Hillary Clinton said it was nice of the Trump camp to help publicize Governor Tim Waltz's compassionate and common sense policy, adding, "Let's do this everywhere." Hold on a second.
Common sense.
Common sense policy. See, this is what's asinine is on the face value. Most people that look at this bill that are probably on the left, they don't like what you just said, Roy. I think the middle left, like not the far left people, they probably don't even know that this is like a gender issue of like wording, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to normalize the whole trans thing. I don't think they realize it because they probably don't know. They haven't seen a lot of this stuff, and they think it's the Republicans attacking them like, oh, you're after young girls, which it said right away in this NPR thing that has nothing what they were doing. They tried to change the verbiage to just females, and that was what was blocked. Otherwise, it looked like the Republicans were all on board for this. So like, that's what's crazy with this is they make it a twist that the Trump camp and MAGA and Republicans are against actual women getting tampons in schools, which is not the case. It's crazy.
I mean, on the other side, what I see a lot is that, I mean, like, cool, girls can just walk. I mean, are these going to be free? I don't know if they put on there if there's going to be.
Yeah, it said it was free. I mean, obviously the government's going to pay for them, so someone's paying for them. But like, this is the thing is,
and all these women are going to go in there like, oh yeah, we can just go into the guy's bathroom, steal all these tampons because they do cost money for actual women.
Yeah.
And then
so that was like, basically it.
Watch. It's going to be it's going to be the whole toilet paper thing situation. Where they could just, no, that's a bad comparison. Let me scratch that again. So instead of costing them money, they're gonna I can just go into the boys' bathroom, get a handful, and I would be good. So they're actually saving money there. So, I mean, too, if they wanted to turn a profit, they could also turn around and try to sell those as well. So you got those people thinking that way too.
The whole thing's just stupid to me because like nobody's really trying to stop actual women getting these products is what I've just when I read that statement. That's NPR is not on the right. They are not on the right. And they clearly said that the reason why the Republicans were against it is they just wanted the verbiage to be correct that women can are the only ones that can menstruate. And so what's happening here is you have Tampon Tim now is what I'm going to call him after this is just hilarious. And the radical left. And to Roy's point, we said earlier, I don't believe it's a lot of the people that are probably voting that want this stuff either. Is they don't know. Is you're getting them to normalize trans. You're getting them to say that there is no line, right? So there's no line of like, oh, why can't a biological male go into a woman's bathroom because we're all the same if they want to be, and so like. The issue with it is when you pass something like this and you have that verbiage in there, what's the next one that's going to happen, right? And then what's the next one? And then the next one is because when you don't have a moral code that's outside of you individually and you don't have like God, basically, if you're not getting your moral code from a creator, someone outside of us, every human creates what is good. And this is the issue, is everyone's going to have different definitions and they're going to say, well, there's obviously these common sense. You just looked in this thing and they said common sense was to say that dudes can menstruate. That's where they're at. So like we've gone past common sense. And so to me, I think that's the bigger issue is it's not even just this bill. It's what's the next one that they're going to shove down. They're going to put all this language in here. And then when it passes, it is now a law and you have to follow it or you have repercussions. And most people won't know what's in these things. I think that's the issue. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Right. That is a big issue. And I started thinking about the kids a minute ago. Like if you're a child growing up in these schools, you look at that and because you're around it all the time, that's what you think is normal. If you don't have like strong like ethics from your parents, you just like default to what's around you as most kids do. They're just going to like see that and they're going to actually believe that men can menstruate. They're going to be taught that and actually like internalize it and take it with them. Like Gen Alpha is going to have that inside of them when they grow up. They're going to actually have the common sense of the genders being flipped and evil being good and good being evil.
Dude, I had a guy that told me that he believed that if his wife or girlfriend died when he had kids, that because we have nipples, that he would be able to lactate to feed his baby, and he 100% believed it. And I was like, dude, that's never happened in history. So I don't think that's going to happen with you. Okay. And he was not pulling my leg and not joking. That's the same kind of mentality that we're dealing with right here. They believe like. I don't even know. I don't even have words for it anymore.
It's a very strong delusion at this point. It's very ingrained in the culture in certain areas. So Some
Do you guys
people
want
just
to?
do it. What was that?
No, I was gonna say, do you guys want to hear some other funny You,
You hit him up, man. Let's
We
go.
gotta lighten this up a little bit.
I'm gonna lighten this up a bit because
Let's go.
Tampon Tim wasn't lighting up.
so we got Tampon Tim. Okay, check this out. We have so these are names that Donald Trump assigned. So and they're ranked.
Oh. Do we get to see him? Are you gonna pull him up on here? Or are you just gonna tell us?
I'm just gonna tell you guys.
Okay, sounds good.
In your
So
best
we got
Trump accent.
we got Jeff Flakey. So they just added a Y to Arizona Senator Jeff Flake's name. He calls him Jeff Flakey. I don't trust this guy, Jeff Flakey.
Oh man.
And then you got, let's see. I mean, this one's not very clever, but he goes cheating Obama. It's one of them. It's ranked number 12. Then you got Al Frankenstein. This guy, he's a junior high school ethos. Let's see. Extra point is misspelling Frankenstein. I guess it's supposed to be Frankenstein, but it's Frankenstein. Then you got obviously the classic Crooked Hillary, which is ranked number 7. This one's pretty funny. You got Sloppy Steve. Sloppy Steve number 6. This guy is supposed to be Steve Bannon, but he calls him Sloppy Steve. Little Marco for Marco.
Oh yeah,
Rubio.
Yeah, Marco Rubio.
Man, that's 8 years ago.
Dang,
So
that went by fast.
That's number 5. Then we got number 4, Pocahontas. You guys know who that is?
Oh yeah, of course. That's the less than 1%, blood in. She was a state senator, right? Or was
Nancy
she in
Pelosi?
Nancy Pelosi? No. Elizabeth Warren.
Elizabeth Warren. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Same thing.
They got number 3. This is number 3. Low energy Jeb.
Was it Sleepy Jeb?
No, it's just low.
Sleepy Joe. That's Sleepy Joe.
Oh,
man.
right. Okay.
Sleepy Joe. Yeah.
Low energy Jeb. Oh man.
Okay. Then you got Lion Ted.
Who's Ted?
So
Ted
Lion
Cruz.
Ted.
Oh, Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Ted Cruz.
I like how it's 50-50 Republican and Democrats in here. I like how he's just bashing.
Yeah, he's just bodying everybody.
I just love it.
And then number 1, they have it ranked, and this is on CNN. Number 1, Little Rocket Man.
Oh, that is good. Yeah.
Little Rocket Man.
Little Rocket Man?
Kim Jong-un.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard that one.
During the active, tense conflict where they're trying to get him to give up nuclear weapons, he called him Rocket Man.
Dude, that's
several times. Rocket Man.
So that's number 1. That's number 1.
Those are funny.
But this again, when was this put out? Because I think Tampon Tim takes it.
I think Tampon Tim takes it. I mean, that's just.
Oh, this is back in 2018.
Yeah, dude, that's definitely got to get reworked on that.
Yeah, it has to be updated. Got to, because I'm pretty sure there's other ones that we're missing.
More things have happened since then. Tampons have been in men's bathrooms since then.
Tampon Tim.
I don't know. At this point,
how many of my tax dollars are going to tampons for men? I just how much money is that?
I can't even figure it out in my head that they would actually use it. Hold on a second. So how does this even work? Okay, so it's a biological female saying that they're a dude. Okay. Because I was trying to, never mind. So that's what it is.
There's probably biological females who are.
My camera.
Jaron, is your camera battery dead?
Did you run out of batteries?
I guess I did.
Okay.
That's okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, good night. I guess. Are we saying?
Oh no! Look, we can finish this up a couple minutes. It's all right.
Yeah, we can hear Jaron. It's a podcast. That's what matters.
Yeah.
No, but what was I saying? Dang it, Jaron. You don't have to be. Roy, say something.
I got another. I think you were about to lay out the most historic speech that was just about to happen. Almost like
yeah. Thank you for reminding me.
Okay.
It's probably biological women thinking they're men, but there's also men who have gone through that transition surgery, and where they used to have their male, equipment, they now have a wound that needs to be cleaned. So that's probably also where they're going. sadly, like that.
I
That's
can't
also a
even
thing.
figure
And
it out.
I just feel really bad for them for the ones that made that decision for themselves. And it's I honestly
Yeah,
don't
that's
think
rough.
it's their fault. I think there's a level of pressure. I think there's a level of certain communities that really push that to say, hey, if you're really gonna be, in this community, you got to go all the way. And some are smart, some are, I don't want to say smart. Some of them just make that decision to like, no, I'm not going to do that because first of all, that's expensive. Second of all, it's it's life altering completely.
Hmm.
So I do have sympathy for those that that make that decision to do that, and then now they're faced with something that is not reversible. Nothing will ever be the same, and I feel for their mental health.
Yeah, it's really sad. I think you're right, Roy, too. What you just said is basically, at the end of the day, like it's the parents and society that's ruining it for these kids because um they're being told a lie is what's going on. So
Yeah, no child would ever go through transition surgery unless they have been groomed for a while by someone older than them and trying to spread their ideologies and whatever unclean spirits are inside of them into that child.
yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
Whether
So.
it's like teachers or parents.
Yeah.
But all right, well, with that, till next time, huh? Tampon
Till
Tim
next
1
time.
is done.
Tampon
Hopefully we don't have to
Tampon
talk
Tim.
about this ever again. My God.
Rank number one in the most clever Trump nicknames. Anyways, thanks guys.
All right.
Hit that subscribe button. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.